Once you survive a significant amount of trauma, psychologically, emotionally, subconsciously, and even mentally, you will never be able to look at life how you used to or even be the same person. Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Psych Guidance, and that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, with that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates as well as leave the rest. So if it doesn't apply, then that means it's not aligned, which means it is not for you, so don't force it. As well as grab your pen, grab your paper, and be prepared to take notes. For the month of May, we have been going over and discussing that life is not going to last forever, which means nothing in life is going to remain the same, including yourself. And for today's video, we're going to talk about what you should expect after you survive trauma. Speaking from a trauma survivor and as somebody who's gone through things in life, as well as some recommendations, reminders, and some disclaimers. And for those of you who are new here, I'm your favorite mental health specialist on this account, which means we motivate, inform, and educate from a naturopathic physician's perspective, which means we heal ourselves internally, subconsciously, and psychologically first, and with our mind and our emotions. So the first disclaimer is knowing that when you go through trials and tribulations, especially when it's your first time, automatically you're going to go into a shock. Most trauma, depending on your instincts when it comes to surviving, is going to determine how you react or respond. So some people may go into a freeze and then they're in a flight moment. Some people may go into a fight moment because they're either like accustomed to going through trials and tribulations and suffering and they're numb, or they just have gone through certain things in life to where they're equipped. Regardless if it's your first time or if you've gone through so many trials and tribulations, you need to know that it is unfortunate that you went through the things that you went through, but you're not the only person. You need to know that there are so many people in this world who have gone through abuse, physically, emotionally, mentally, financially. There are people who are being raped, take away the G. There are people who've been harassed. There are people who've been beaten on. There are people who've been chalked, take away the C, add an S. There are people who have been reeled, take away the R, add the K. Every single day, there are people who get graphic, add a T in front of it. There are people who are in poverty. Like, people go through things. And this is the main reason why I started this platform. So many people go through things and they suffer in silence because a lot of times the Redditors add a P in front of them have gaslight them or enabled them, or nobody believed you, or maybe you don't have the finances and the resources to invest into like a therapist or a psychiatrist, right? This is why I post these videos for free. So make sure you guys are liking, commenting, engaging, and let me know your experience. But it's like, you need to know that you're not the only person. It is unfortunate, but in order for the whole world to change as a collective, we have to be able to start with ourselves. So the second disclaimer is knowing that once you understand that you're not the only person who suffers and goes through things, is to realize that you have to take the time to process what has happened to you. And the best way to process what has happened to you is to seek assistance, is to see a therapist, is to watch these videos, is to find people you can confide in. And if you're into religion or spirituality, going to the gods, going to the ancestors, going to the universe, like, once again, I'm not here to force religion or spirituality, so take what resonates with the rest, but it's like, you have to be okay with talking about what has happened to you. The more you try to deny what has happened to you, the more it's going to stay in your subconscious mind, which means you'll start to self-sabotage yourself in the people and the places and things that you want to experience. You'll start to have doubts. You'll start to receive the projection and deflections. You will limit yourself. You will become bitter. You will become angry. And this will cause resentment, this will cause stress, this will cause depression, this will call suicidal thoughts, add an S in front of it, as well as you hurting yourself or hurting other people and not being able to move forward. This is why a lot of people become bitter. This is why a lot of people become envious. And this is why a lot of the corruption and the chaos and the division is going on. You have to be okay with knowing that what you went through was not okay. But until you're able to accept that you did go through certain things and that you survived, which I'm going to trigger warning, break that down in just a second, you will feel like, why me? You will be angry. You will be bitter. This doesn't mean that what has happened to you should have happened to you, because nobody deserves to be, beaten on or touched on or whatever it is that you went through. But you experienced it for a reason and you're alive. Like, most people in life are not going to live when they go through traumatic situations. You have a 99% chance, either 99% you will overcome the situation, or 1% you're done. And that's what a lot of people don't fail to realize. Like, at the end of the day, despite of what you're going through, the day is going to end and you're not going to live forever. Like, the reason why it seems so difficult and so challenging in the moment is because you're still meant to live. And a lot of times when you go through a significant amount of trauma, like I said, psychologically and subconsciously, it does alter your perception of life, which means mentally your thoughts are going to be determined based off of how it made you feel. So your emotions. This is why it's so important to obviously work on your nervous system. But like I said, validate how you feel. Stop trying to suppress what has happened to you. You should never feel embarrassed. You should never feel ashamed. If you're venting to people, if you're trying to confide in people and people are judging you, people don't want to believe you, people are picking sides, people are trying to gaslight you, stop telling them. But you need to find an outlet, whether that's through meditation, whether that's prayer, whether that's journaling, whether that's booking a service in a session, which is in the description, or watching the videos for free, because I'm not here for your money, seeing a psychiatrist, going to therapy, finding community, or even expressing it to yourself. Like, you have to be able to talk about what has happened to you so you can process what has happened to you. Just because you understand what happens to you doesn't mean you accept it. And over here, we're not here to hold grudges, and we're not here to make excuses. The things that I went through, you guys, eventually I'm going to have a story time about, and I'm going to talk about them. And I'm not afraid. I've witnessed certain things in my life. Yes, I don't feel like anybody deserves to suffer, but people do. You have to be able to speak up. And this is another reason why I use my platform. So if you don't want to speak up, that's fine, because I'm not here to force you or tell you to come on the internet and tell all your business. But it's like, make sure you guys are asking questions, liking and engaging, so we can work on certain things. And like I said, if you're ready to have like a more intimate vibe, book a service and session is in the description. The third disclaimer is knowing that when you go through trauma, you're going to have a moment or take some time to allow yourself to grieve. So it's one thing to process what has happened to you, so understand why you went through it. It's another thing to, like I said, accept what has happened to you and realize what it is that you were supposed to learn from that opportunity. Because in life, if you're not surviving, you're dead. A lot of people think that survivor mode is based off of our finances. To survive means to be alive. And you guys, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. But I understand a lot of people sometimes are ignorant. So let's go ahead and read this word, survive. You guys can Google this word. You can read the dictionary, whichever, okay? Oxford, Webster, Merriam. To survive means to be remaining alive, to continue to exist, especially despite dangerous or difficult circumstances, If you did not die, if it did not kill you, it is going to make you stronger. But until you take the time to grieve and allow yourself to be angry, to be mad, to be happy, to be okay, to be grateful and move forward, you will continue to have these labels and attachments. And this is why there are people, especially in Western society, who diagnose people and try to prescribe them medications and say that they have all these diseases and all these diagnoses. You don't have to have PTSD for the rest of your life. You don't have to be schizophrenic for the rest of your life. You don't have to have BPD for the rest of your life. You don't have to have anxiety for the rest of your life. You don't have to be neurodivergent for the rest of your life. A lot of the stuff that people are getting diagnosed with stems from trauma. Let's go ahead and be clear. You have to be able to understand that until you're able to cry, scream, yell, shout, and realize why you had to go through the things you went through, you will not be able to let it go. You will allow the people and the places and things that hurt and harm you, intentionally or not, to live rent-free in your mind. And the more you focus on negative energy, the more negative you're going to become. So you have to realize that a lot of times we go through trauma because we didn't have certain resources. We didn't have certain tools. We didn't have certain family members. We didn't have certain protectors. We didn't have the finances. We didn't have the resources. And that's the fourth. Are we on disclaimers or recommendations, you guys? I forgot. That is, I think, the fourth disclaimer or fourth recommendation. I think we're on the recommendations. You have to realize that If you didn't know any better before you got into that situation, do you feel like it's fair for you to blame yourself? Because I know I didn't. I've talked about 3 trials and tribulations that were extremely traumatic for me, and I didn't beat myself up and I didn't blame myself. Now, of course, immediately when I went through those 3 situations, yes, emotionally, because I'm a human being, I felt some type of way, as I should. Those 3 situations, I talked about getting fired, I talk about losing a parent, and I talk about getting into a physical car accident. Those 3 situations were extremely traumatic for me. Now, of course, it's not to compare or contrast, because some people, yes, they do suffer more than others. But at the end of the day, everyone has emotions, and people who try to act like nonchalant or make you feel bad about being vulnerable are weird. And like I said, narcissists, toxic enablers, and they're the problem. It's not cool to make fun of people for struggling. It's not cool to make fun of people who are poor. It's not cool to make fun of people who lose parents or had parents who love them and support them. It's not cool to make fun of people who are learning how to do things for themselves. You have to realize that, like, if you were being touched on inappropriately by certain family members at a young age and you didn't know it was appropriate, why should you beat yourself up? If you grew up and you were around people who are in substances and that runs through your family, or you grew up in poverty as a child, you think you had control over those things? If you were bullied at an early age or in your adult years and you were never taught how to speak up for yourself or defend yourself, do you think it's fair for you to sit here and blame yourself? Because I'm not. I'm not. When you know, especially when you have known who you are, especially when you know you're not out here causing problems in people's lives. This doesn't mean that I'm not perfect. This doesn't mean that you're not perfect. But I could say, and I could put that on my whole soul, as people like to say, I know what I've done. And for those of you who are religious and into spirituality, the gods, the ancestors, and the universe know what I've done as well. And same thing with you. And that's what a lot of people fail to realize. You're the only person who's going to live with the guilt subconsciously. You're the only person who's going to live in fear. Over here, you cannot operate out of fear and be high vibrational at the same time. You need to pick a side. People always talk about duality and neutrality. We pick a side. You're either love, light, and abundant, or you're going to be the opposite, because it's the same thing. If you're really, quote unquote, chosen or awake, all to y'all shade. We don't have time for that. It's 2026. So many people go through things. Once again, why would you even care about people judging you and perceiving you for talking about what has happened to you and you being vulnerable, or you crying, or you expressing yourself, or you accepting the fact that you are angry? Why would you want to be around people like that? Why do you want to continue to have conversations with people who didn't stick up for you or be there for you? Now, this doesn't mean that just because you're angry or just because you're frustrated, that means that you're miserable or that you have to become bitter. Like, when people touch on you inappropriately, you're allowed to be angry. When people get you fired, you're allowed to be angry. When people spread lies, rumor, and gossip, you're allowed to be angry. When people go out their way to provoke you and harass you and stalk you and do malicious things, you're allowed to feel angry. You don't have to allow the narcissism and the gaslighting of these people in these places and things to feel like, oh, you're just reacting, you're responding, or you're belligerent, you're assertive. I'm none of those things. I never gave up about any of these people in the first place because I had no respect for them. I don't have no respect for, especially grown adults, Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, gay, hey, them, she, we, EFG, LGBTQ2, 1 through 3, who sit here and hurt and harm people, and they know, who take advantage of people and they know better. People be knowing better. It's so demeaning, it's so degrading, it's so disrespectful, and it's grotty. It's grotty ASF. It's so grotty. It has nothing to do with materialistics and materialisms and money. That stuff, what else are you supposed to do as a human being? People will want to be, oh, spiritual. What else are you supposed to do? We're not here to suffer and struggle. Materials, it's really not that rare. Like, don't allow people also too who have never gone through anything, like I said, make you feel bad. Unless people have gone through certain things, don't listen to people saying, oh, well, you need to be able to be around certain people, because a lot of times it's going to be the people that you know, if it's not a stranger. It's going to be the narcissistic family members. It's going to be the toxic people that you're in relationships with. It's going to be the envious coworkers. It's going to be the messy classmates. It's going to be people trying to pursue you, your spouses. Don't allow people to say, oh, well, that's your mom. It doesn't matter, because that makes it worse. It makes it worse when it's happening to you by people that you're supposed to know and care about. That's not love. That's not respect. And it doesn't, like I said, matter your gender. You're not selfish for putting yourself first and having boundaries and having respect for yourself. So it's really important that as you are allowing yourself to accept what was, you validate the pain and the suffering, and that you use it to your greater advantage. Because if you don't allow yourself to even be angry or speak your truth without judgment or shame and allowing yourself to let go, you will not be able to live a prosperous life. And I'm telling you from experience, that's what miserable people want. So many people I've witnessed, like subconsciously, even though like I said, those of you who really know the vibes, you know, like at the end of the day, nothing externally can like disturb your peace. But for those of you who may not understand what I just said, like for the people and the places and things who went out their way to like put you in these situations, because a lot of times people prey on people's innocence and them being young and naive. You have to realize that's what people want. Like, so many people want you to be miserable. So many people want you to give up on yourself. You can't allow that. I'm not allowing that. So if this video resonates with you, other than liking, comment, engaging, let me know what you went through, booking your service in your session, and make sure you're following me on all my social media platforms, which is going to be in the description down below. I need you to put in the comment section and on your notes and affirm out loud that you're still going to continue to show up despite what has happened to you. And you're going to take your time. You don't have to rush. Like, healing for some people can take weeks, years, days, months. Like, you don't have to rush. You don't have to feel embarrassed. You don't have to feel bad. But that's what's going to happen to you. That's what you need to start expecting when it comes to you going through a significant amount of trauma. Like I said, you don't have to come on the internet and tell all your business if you don't want to. Like, use discernment, be mindful, you know, protect yourself. Obviously, if you're in danger, always seek legal assistance. Like, don't worry, like I said, about people calling you names, or because you're weird. You're weird if you think people are not going to sue you, call the police on you, or call the higher ups. Like, are you, like, I don't know. It's never been a thing. It's never been a thing. And it doesn't matter if you're 29, 49, or 9 years old. Like, it's never been acceptable. And the people who don't speak up about it, you all are sick. And you're not going to get anywhere in life either. So don't worry about them. Like, we're going to talk about that in the next video. But, like, don't worry about what happens to other people. Because I can tell you for sure, you guys. And I'm going to knock on wood, so you guys can hear it. What goes around comes around. And sometimes it doesn't happen when you want it to be. But I promise you, when you're meant to hear something, you're going to hear it. And when you're meant to see something, you'll see it. So let me know what you guys want to talk about. This is going to be a trigger warning video. I'm going to put that in the comment section or in the description. But yeah, that's what you need to expect. You don't need to be bitter. You don't need to be angry. You don't need to feel embarrassed. Like, it happened. And I'm telling you, once you talk about it and you express yourself and you accept and you realize what you had to learn and what you needed to not continue to focus on, it will become lighter. And you'll become stronger. Like I said, you become wiser. Like, you'll realize you'll never allow yourself to sit here and play with yourself again. And if anybody has a problem with that, once again, why would you want to be around them? Why would you want to be around people who don't have respect for them? Like, start respecting yourself, love. If nobody was there for you to respect yourself, you need to respect yourself, okay? You're not alone. Thanks for watching. I love you. Until next time, peace.